Hey there, Sharon Hespe, the Good Gut Girl. So how are you all going in self-isolation? It feels a little bit like you're in captivity. So what I thought would be a great idea for everybody is, because we're all in self-isolation and most of us are at home and we need to cook a lot more. So we're going to have a cooking in captivity in your pajamas series, okay? And some of you might want the children to help to cook, and today we're going to cook some muffins, which is a fantastic idea to get to the children to help you cook with. So you don't need a huge fancy kitchen. I usually have a much bigger kitchen to cook in, but I have really basic things here, and all you really need is some really basic things. So I'm just going to go through with you what you need to cook these muffins, okay? So it's ideal if you've got a muffin tin like this, okay? But this is a really old crappy muffin tin. No big deal. You can use that spray that is non-stick, or what you can do is you can get some baking powder, cut it into squares and pop it in like that. Then you don't have to wash the muffin tin, which is pretty handy. So you also need, I use spelt flour, so you need some flour, about 2 cups of flour, you need a half a cup of sugar, you need 3 teaspoons of baking powder, and that's all been put in here. All the dry ingredients just get put into a bowl and you mix it up. So in with these dry ingredients today, I've also put in a little bit of cinnamon powder, because the muffins I'm making are apple and cinnamon. But you can make banana muffins, you can put almond meal in your mix, you can really have whatever you like, it doesn't matter. I've just got apples and cinnamon because apples are what I have. So you also need, and this is what I mean by you don't need fancy things, like you need a cup of milk. I don't have measuring cups here, so it's just a cup. A cup's a cup. You need a quarter of a cup of melted Nuttelex, okay, and you need 1 egg. So the reason that if some of you cook, you will know this, but if you don't cook much, it's really good to know that if you crack your egg in another container first, just in case it's bad, because if it's bad, then you haven't ruined all of your ingredients, okay? So you need to do that. Now, as well, before you start, I forgot to tell you about the oven. So for all of my family and friends, they know I cook on one temperature. That's 200 degrees. And I remember the kids used to always say to me, so Sharon, what temperature should I put the oven on for this? 200 degrees. Every time it's 200 degrees. Unless you're making a pavlova, then I think it's about 100, but I haven't made a pavlova for a long time. So with these muffins, it's a little bit different. You put the oven on about 220 or 230 when you start, because when you put the muffins in, if the oven is hotter, it's better, but as soon as you put the muffins in, you turn the oven down to 200, so you cook with the oven on 200. Okay, so we've got all of our dry ingredients in here, which is your flour. Now I've used spelt flour. You can use, I say to people, I would prefer you to use wheat-free flour. Spelt flour is really, really easy. You can use any flour in this. Probably the only flour I wouldn't use would be coconut flour, because that takes up a whole lot of water or a whole lot of liquid, and it really changes the consistency. So then what we need to do, so we've got all the dry ingredients mixed up. Now we need to get the wet ingredients. So we've got our Nuttelex. I'm just going to pour that in there. We've got our cup of milk. Makes a bit of a mess. And we've got an egg. Okay, any old container. I think this is an old dip container. So, and then just whisk it up with a whisk. If you don't have a whisk, you can just use a fork. That's not going to be a big deal. Okay, so that's all of the wet ingredients mixed up. Now, if you don't want to use, I use A2 milk because I like it, and this is the A2 milk. I really do like A2 milk. You can use soy milk, you can use almond milk, you can use rice milk, you can use any sort of milk you like, okay? It doesn't really matter. This recipe is really, really forgiving, okay? So with the fruit, and that's going to make a mess. With the fruit with mine today, I decided that I'm going to use some grated apple, okay? Because grated apple is what I have. So you need a cup, you need to have a cup of fruit, okay? So you can have a banana, you can have whatever you like. I always throw the fruit in to the dry mix and let it mix up a bit. And remember, before we put in a little bit of cinnamon. So you just mix it up like that. Then all you do, it's really, really easy. You throw in all of the wet stuff into the dry stuff. It's easy. Now with this recipe, it's important that you don't mix it up too much. It's important that it stays lumpy. It's a bit strange. Oops, it's a bit strange, isn't it? But just mix it up until you can just see that everything's mixed together. Yep, that's mixed together. Okay, I didn't peel my apple because I think it's really important to have the skin, but you can peel your apple if you like. And all the little bits and pieces that went in from grating it is fine. So then just get the muffin tin. So when you do, these can be a bit tricky, and you put them in and you go, they're not staying in there, but they will, okay? So just pop it in as best you can. Just put a big scoop of muffin mix in there like that. And usually with this recipe, now I've got, being the master chef I am, I've got 12 of these over here that are prepared, okay? They're about this big, which is maybe 200 by 200, I think, and you just squash them in there. So you fill all those up and you put it in the oven for 20 minutes. So don't forget, we've got the oven turned up to 230. What you do is pop that tray in the oven, turn it back down to 200 degrees, set the timer for 20 minutes, ta-da, your muffins will be ready. So, you know what, this is a really easy way to make muffins that are going to be really, really great for your gut, and they're easy to make. It's some fun for the children to have in the holidays, and then you get delicious muffins. So if you want to freeze them, you can freeze them. It doesn't matter, you don't need to freeze them. They may not last long enough, but sometimes I will freeze them so then if I really want to have a treat, I can just get out one of the muffins. So I'm going to put these in the oven now. I'm going to ask my kitchen assistant to turn the video off, and when I've got the muffins, I'm going to post a picture here. So then watch out for later on today, because I'm going to cook a roast lamb for dinner. So I'm going to go through the preparation of that roast lamb with you, and I'm going to show you, we're going to have like a really delicious tomato and oniony coriander salad that goes with it. So I'll pop these in the oven now, and I'll post a picture when it's finished. Thank you.